Who?
You must have a fan on.
Me?
No, we are on.
We are live.
We are live. So
Everybody.
this is Jeff Lichtenstein with Echo Fine Properties, and you are looking live at. We're going to do 3 open houses today, and then we're going to have a whole rental roundtable discussion with the Dean of Rentals, Will Dean himself, and then we have an exterminator round with federal exterminating later at 2 o'clock. And we're going to talk about all sorts of exterminating things, keeping all the bugs out and the virus and bufo toads and all the little small frogs that everybody on Facebook is worried about. So we can talk about that. So it's interesting. At my house right now, I've got going on, school is going on, college, high school, dogs and cats are roaming around. My wife is a mental health therapist, so she's doing that, and we're doing real estate, all in one residence.
But that Bulls thing last night was great, Jeff. The Bulls documentary last night.
Yeah. So I'm from Chicago, so my dad obviously is too, and they did was a 10-part series on the Bulls from the '98 season, but it chronicled all the way back to '83 and '84. So I did want Sam Bowie as the number 3 pick, so I got lucky that I was not the general manager of that team. But that was great stuff. But Michael, we were from Highland Park, which is where he was, and he followed us down here to Jupiter. So today we're going to go through. We're going to start with Kerry Lichtenstein. He's out at Trump National in Jupiter. Charlie Gale is over in Palm Beach Gardens today in PGA National, and Will Dean is in Botanica in Jupiter. So we're going to start. We're going to go over to Kerry Lichtenstein. Rob, is that showing on Facebook okay? Is he pinned?
He's up. He's up.
Yep, you're up.
There he is.
So, Dad, how is it with what's going on at your house?
Well, we've got 3 dogs, and we had a leak, an underground leak. So we had to have a guy come out and destroy our floor and drill down and found the underground leak, and that only cost me $4,400.
That was yesterday?
That was on Friday, and then today I had a floor guy in who is going to fix the floor and give me and so we were out of the driveway trying to stain tile to make it look like the existing tile. So this is owning a home is an experience. If you're not prepared, that's why buying a brand new house is always the best, because you get about a 5 or a 10-year free ride.
But I remember mom said that too. When we moved here, everything lasts 7-10 years or whatever. It's wet in Florida, and then it. So if you have right now, like last year we had our AC went and our water heater went within 3 weeks of each other, and then we had this crazy leak. So I'm like, right now everything's kind of new, so I'm happy. But you're praying right now, nothing happens.
So let me tell you a little bit about this house, a little bit about Trump National, and I was one of the founding members of Trump National when it was originally the Ritz-Carlton, so I rode in a pickup truck with Jack Nicklaus as the golf course was being laid out and all the modifications for the course were being done, and so I was a member there for 6 years. It's been 12 years now since I played golf. I was very proud. I have the original course record of 66, and that's an island green. That's the 11th hole at Trump National, and that's quite an experience. And no, that's the ninth. That's the ninth green with the trap that wraps all the way around the front, and over to the into the right side. Anyway, this house is 502 Bald Eagle, and there's a story that goes along with the address. Adjacent to this house is to the left when you're looking at it to see where the arrow is. That's preserve, and in that preserve there was a mother and a father. They were bald eagles, real bald eagles, and they had a nest, and they had babies, and they raised their babies there, and every once in a while the babies would be on the 12th or 13th green, and they rope that off. So the law in Florida is, if there's a bald eagle, until they've left for 7 years, you cannot build on that property. And so finally they did leave, and so they built a little bit on the property, but this house sits right on the preserve there, and so it's very private.
Is that why they call it Eagle Tree at Trump National now?
Yes, because the eagles were in a tree.
Okay, it's cool.
So this is the largest property. It's 2/3 of an acre. It's about 9,800 square feet total, and it's 7,700 square feet under air. So this house is different from all the other houses on Bald Eagle. All the other houses on Bald Eagle are kind of cookie cutters, and what those houses are missing is exactly what this house has. And what this house has is for the lady of the house, it has a gigantic closet. And I had the pleasure once of being in Celine Dion's closet. Celine Dion, you know, the singer, and I thought she had the biggest closet in the world until I saw the closet in this house. And it's not a shared closet; it's hers, her own, and the husband has his own closet. So this is a picture of the side yard, and you can see they've got vines. This is a garden shot in the left rear corner, in the southwest corner, and and then this is a shot from that southwest corner, looking at the back of the house. You can see the trellis to the left. You can see the pool, and you can see that the house is totally symmetrical. And so upstairs there are, besides there being a giant master bedroom on the first floor, those are 2 more master bedrooms upstairs. So there's a total of 5 bedrooms, but 3 of them are master bedroom sites. This is one of those rooms. This room is decorated a little bit like Atlanta, North Carolina, with a very pretty floral, and looks outside facing the west and overlooking the pool. And this is a picture of the living room, and you can see the marble fireplace in the to the right, and then you can see the patio and the pool through the windows behind that large blue sofa.
It's got great light coming in there.
Yes, it really does. This is another picture. You can see the front door in the left corner, and so we're now looking from the fireplace towards the front of the house, and this is all Venetian paint, and so it is drop dead gorgeous and is the most expensive type of paint.
Yeah, we have it in our powder room, but that's about all we can afford.
Yeah, this is great. The whole first floor has it. this is the dining room, and the hallway to the left leads into the family room, and on the other side of this is the kitchen, and which you're looking through the windows there, and that's to the patio. So this kitchen was totally redone. This is about $180,000 kitchen. You've got all Carrara marble, which is the most expensive type of marble. All the most beautiful Thermador and Wolf appliances. All the floors are white marble. I mean, this is a drop dead beautiful kitchen. The white cream and gray, that's where that's the jewelry of the house, and this house has that jewelry today. So the next picture, this is a picture of the bar. So the hallway to the right leads into the dining room and to the kitchen. So there's a very big bar top. It also has the gray and white Carrara marble, and the angle of this doesn't really do it justice because it's a much bigger bar than there. This is a better shot because it's from a higher angle, and you're also looking out onto the side yard to the house. The next shot, this is now we're standing behind the bar in the family room, and looking out onto the pool. So this is really just a beautiful family room. Again, white, cream, and gray, which is where all the interior design is today. So let's move on to the next shot. This is looking back at the bar from from the windows. Okay. So here we've got a shot of the front door. To the left is the dining room, and then that little doorway there, that's the powder room. That's right off of the dining room and right off of the entryway. Okay, this is the ceiling treatment. So this is all Venetian plaster, and they've lit it. And they've done just a gorgeous job. Talk about an architectural masterpiece. This whole hallway is really an architectural masterpiece.
We're getting we're getting today actually some pretty cool equipment that is going to let us do it virtually. So we're going to go back to all the homes we market and do these tours, which you can look at then online and go through in a virtual setting, either on our website or on the mobile site. But if you have any of these if anybody has any of these virtual headsets, which a lot of people are starting to order now, which work with the Oculus, which is owned by Facebook, and Google Cardboard, which is pretty inexpensive, you can get a true virtual setting. But we're going to start marketing all of our homes this way.
So this shot is of the office that the husband uses in the house. All with fine woods, both flooring and the custom cabinets. And this is overlooking the balcony from the office, and you can see the woods in the ceiling.
That gives you a close-up of the Venetian plaster.
Yeah, it really does. Nice shot.
So those are the shots we had there. I've got a couple then of the can you tell us a little bit about Trump National itself and the amenities of the club?
Sure. I don't know if we're going to go back to the master bedroom and the master bath, but if we're not, they're just gigantic and oversized and just beautifully decorated and just beautiful taste. The entire first floor is all marble. This is a shot. We're standing halfway house is, and this is a shot of the back of the clubhouse. So it's facing the 10th tee, the 18th green, the halfway house, and then on the left side, the driving range and the first tee. And this shot is from a corner on the other side of the pool. On the left side is the spa, and then the umbrellas are outdoor dining at the pool. There's also a kiddie place where the parents or grandparents can store their grandchildren or children, and this is a shot of the kitchen and the chefs in the main dining room. This again is a shot of the ninth green. It's really kind of a terrific hole. What else have we got here?
That's about it. That's about it here. And if somebody wants to get in touch with you, how do they how can they do that?
My number is really easy. It's the number that all the eye doctors want because it ends in 2020. So my number is 561-379-2020. And I'm available. You can call me day or night. And I'd love to work with a buyer on this house, the single nicest house in Trump National.
Carrie has a lawyer by trade, ran a $100 million company, which he built from a $3 million company for 30 years. He really understands all the golf courses extremely well, and has played everything in the area, and is a wealth of knowledge and does really deep dive searches. Is terrific to work with. I posted his contact information in his bio, a link to it that you could look up in Facebook as well. So that's it for Carrie, and we're going to run now over to Charlie Gale. So Charlie, tell us a little bit about your background as well. Hey, Charlie. Charlie?
Charlie, you got to unmute yourself.
Sorry, I just had unmuted. I muted myself.
Yeah.
Well, I have a background in business. I have business ownership. I've owned businesses in the past and decided to go into real estate because I absolutely love real estate. I love the whole buying and selling of the home process. Through my business experience, I negotiated contracts, and many of the contracts that I negotiated were multi-million-dollar contracts. I was in the medical field and just really love real estate, buying and selling homes, helping people really live their dreams out. My dad was a builder early on here in Palm Beach County. I am a actual native of Florida. So I was born in Good Samaritan Hospital. So I've been lucky enough to see, North Lake Boulevard, where was a 2-lane road years ago, many years ago. And I've seen this area grow, everything from PGA National being built to the shores where I live now in Jupiter, and so many different communities being built here in northern Palm Beach County. So I just really enjoy helping families kind of live out their dream. I'd moved to the Orlando area and was there for 7 years. I met my wife here in Palm Beach County. We lived in Orlando for 7 years and really decided to come back to the Jupiter Palm Beach Gardens area because, this is paradise. I wanted my kids to be able to grow up, be outside, be active, enjoy the beach, enjoy the waters and everything that northern Palm Beach County has to offer.
And Charlie's a wealth of knowledge when it comes to the school systems in the area, the athletic, programs, and you know, in all the family areas and really about everything. He does a terrific job. So Charlie, today you're out at PGA National.
Yep, I'm out at PGA National today in Heather Run. I'm actually, going to be talking a little bit about 504 Sable Pond Lane here in PGA National. I want to share many parts of PGA National. If you're not aware or not familiar with PGA National sits on a little more than 2,300 acres, and over 800 acres of that is preserve area or green space. So a lot of PGA National has so much green space behind it. And one of the really key features of this Heather Run property is the fact that it backs up to a preserve. So for somebody who's interested in really being able to, look at nature all day long, to not have any neighbors behind them, this really offers a very, very, very unique part of PGA. It's very quiet. You can enjoy the westerly sunsets in the evening. And the property itself is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath with a 1-car garage, and it's very spacious. It's 1,615 square feet, but the vaulted ceilings and the skylights that are located inside the home really make it seem like it is a lot larger than 1,600 square feet. It allows for a lot of natural light. So here you're sitting in your living room and you can see the natural light that's coming in. You can see here, looking out the back patio, you have just a fantastic preserve view. And it's just absolutely beautiful. I mean, you can see everything from, birds to wildlife looking out into the preserve. Sitting inside or sitting out on the back patio at night is it's an incredible experience, simply because you're enjoying Florida. You're enjoying what Florida has to offer. You're enjoying all the wildlife in Florida right from your back patio or from your living room. So it's really phenomenal. Like I had said, it's very spacious. So let me move over a little bit here. Here's the living room area. I can slide over just a little bit.
This is just a nice open floor plan with great light, and like you said, you're getting really $1 million views and complete privacy in your backyard.
Absolutely, Jeff. And the unique thing about PGA National is it's not a mandatory club membership. So this particular property really can attract multiple types of buyers. Somebody who just wants to live in a secure gated community, or it can attract somebody who wants that club membership. PGA National, within PGA National, there's 5 golf courses that are available. It's home of the Honda Classic, and it's just great. The championship course where the Honda Classic is played is one of the most difficult courses in the country. So it offers so much to so many people at PGA National. Not only can you have a golf membership, you can have a sports membership, you can have a tennis membership. There's multiple memberships available.
And like you said, you don't have to join, at all, and have no membership. And it makes, when you sell your home, it really makes it very easy to do so. There's 43 different subdivisions and there's 4,961 homes. So there's product that is starter product that's in the 200s and, goes into the millions. And the location is in between North Lake and PGA Boulevard. The turnpike is across the street on PGA side, literally. And then 95 is a couple miles down the road. And on the North Lake side, you can get on the turnpike as well from about a 3-minute, drive. And then the fees are, for every home in PGA is a master fee of $740 a year. And then each individual subdivision, we're in Heather Run. What is it?
The fees in Heather Run are $307 a month, and that covers for cable. It covers for all the common areas, covers for all the lawn care, the exterior of the building, and reserve funds. And reserve funds are important because we are in Florida, and from time to time we have a few thunderstorms that come through here that can create a little bit of havoc. So Heather Run has a very strong HOA. Reserves are very good here in Heather Run. So that can take care of any damage that could occur during, one of those
And then the 740 a year also takes care of all the grounds, and there's all these playgrounds and parks and green space. But it also, there's terrific security. So there's roving security that's 24/7 in PGA, and the community itself is gated from 6 a.m. in the morning till 9 p.m. at night. It's fully man-gated community, and then there still are 4 information man gate booths where you have to, anybody coming in has to drive through if they're not a resident, and before they open it up to you. So you really get a lot of the best worlds for not a lot of money.
Absolutely. And Jeff, from looking outside, and when you're inside this particular home in Heather Run, once you look outside, you have a extended long view. I mean, this is the view. I can get out of the way a little bit that you have, and here's an example of a sunset. I mean, with the
that's right, because you're west there, yeah. And the birds that come by, you'll get 100 different white, pink, different types of birds that come by at night, of every ibises and egrets and all sorts of things.
Absolutely. So, I mean, it's paradise. It's why you want to move to Florida. You want to move to Florida for the sunshine. You want to move to Florida, to be out in nature, to be outside. This particular home offers all that. It's a gated, safe community, beautiful home, really light and bright. I know everyone in Florida loves, sunshine. They love the light and bright homes, and this is it. If you're a golfer, you play tennis, the club there is definitely a great opportunity to raise.
Heather Run also has its own community pool, as well. So that's taken care of out of your fee. Charlie, I'm going to put on I'm going to put up a few pictures here of, PGA, if you want to just, comment about it.
Yeah. One of the great things about PGA is whenever you drive through the community, you always see people out. They're always out exercising, they're riding their bikes, they're walking, they're jogging. And you see everything from young families with young children to retirees. It's really, it gives you a feeling of safety. For those individuals who work outside and have small kids at home, it really gives a good feeling that, it's a safe, secure community. For the golfer, 5 courses available. It's an amazing opportunity to experience some of the best golf courses there are. And here you can see a great clubhouse. So, if you have a social membership and you want to go down and you want to, entertain yourself on a Friday evening or a Thursday evening, great opportunity here becoming a club member. The community just offers everything that when people think about Florida being close to the beaches, playing golf, being outside, exercising, everything that you think about when you think about Florida PGA National definitely is a great opportunity to experience all that.
So we have and it's also, if you ever want to rent in PGA, it has, we'll get into a little bit of that with Will, but there's great rental opportunities, both on a yearly basis or on a seasonal seasonal basis as well. So I put Charlie's, Charlie, can you put your phone number up for everybody to see? And I put Charlie's, his profile, a link to it. You can read all about Charlie, and his contact information is there. But if you don't have it, it's 561-319-3742, Charlie at echofineproperties.com. And Charlie, the home in Heather Run, what was the price of that?
The price that's offered right now is $357,490.
So, you just get tremendous value, for that. So, Charlie, thanks for all your information there. We're now going to go out to Will Dean. Will is a new father. Is there any chance baby Isabella will be making an appearance today?
Isabella is in desperate need of a nap of what she's getting because she's a night owl. So not today, but in the future, yes.
So have you changed a diaper yet?
I have.
You have?
I have.
I'm proud of you.
Yeah. I don't know what. It does not smell good.
So, well, So now you get a break from smelling the diapers to presenting beautiful homes.
I'll take
and
it. I'll take
pretty
it.
flowers outside. So
Okay.
you're in Botanica?
Today I am in Jupiter in Botanica, and I'm going to be showcasing one of the many seasonal rentals that I have available for next season. So Botanica has some great amenities, and this pool is actually walking distance to the rental. A lot of green space that you have as well. Playground, clubhouse.
Isabella would like that soon.
She's got a couple more months before she's walking, but she did get her first shot, so she's out. She'll be out and about.
Okay.
Something that's nice about this rental is it's single story. This is one of the very few condos in Botanica that's single story. 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, and it's just over 1,300 square feet. Everything's included: cable, high-speed internet, and this actually has a higher speed than average internet. So if you come down and work, you're in good shape. Get a lot of light in here. So this is the living area, all tile in the main areas, flat screen TV. Dolphins do come with the rental. Dining area. Granite counters. Fully stocked, so everything you need. Dishes comes turnkey. Towels, bring your toothbrush, and clothes. King bedroom, a king mattress in the master bedroom, which is important to a lot of people. And then you have an ensuite bathroom. And the 2 guest bedrooms have queen beds. So bed sizes are good. TVs are in all rooms, flat screen TVs with cable. And all the utilities are included for the seasonal rental. So all you're paying is the rent, and then if you're renting for less than 6 months, the state of Florida requires a charitable contribution to the county and the state of a total of 13%. Stay longer than 6 months, no charitable contribution.
And so if you rent for a year, you don't have any of those costs?
So if you rent for a year, you're not going to pay for the short-term lodging tax, which is 6% to the state of Florida, Department of Revenue, and 7% sales tax to the Palm Beach County. So that adds up. If it's seasonal rentals aren't cheap, and if you're staying here for 4 months, it almost makes sense to stay for 6, because you're going to get to use the rental as opposed to making a charitable gift to the government. So in a nutshell, this is a great, relatively inexpensive seasonal rental. $37.50 is the rent, which is a good deal for 3 bedrooms, single story, relatively new construction, walking distance to Publix, walking distance to the pool. It's close to everything, and it's got everything you need. It's a great community. It's pet friendly, which not a lot of rentals are. There's no weight restriction for the pets in this community.
That's a big deal these days, because I'm sure you run into that in the rental world. I think the number with dogs is over 60% of people have a dog. Mm-hmm. And and cats is high too, but there's all sorts of different size dogs that people have. So having no weight restriction is terrific, and it's also good for resale for when you're selling
Absolutely. It. Most people have a pet, which they take better care of than their children. The food they feed their pets are better than they feed their family. And it's,
what did your parents feed you?
Well, I don't know. They fed me what they could, but most people take better care of their pets. It's true. I've had, out of the hundreds and hundreds of rentals that I've done, one issue with pets that sticks out, but really there's really not a lot of issues. Cats, another thing, some people are allergic, which you learn the hard way. Some people are very allergic, and so I always point that out. If there's been a cat.
What happens if you're in front of a cat?
Oh, I have no problems, but I had a rental, which I'll never forget, that there was a cat, which the woman was not supposed to have pets in the first place, and then adopted or found or was given or acquired somehow these two cats that were in need of a home. And the owner was not so happy about it. And then the new tenant moved in and was deathly ill to these cats and developed allergies and rashes. And I think she said her hair was starting to fall out. It was not good. It was not good. And she ended up staying for 3 or 4 weeks and then had to find another rental because of her condition, because of what was happened with these cats. So the owner.
What happened to the two cats?
The cats, I don't know what happened to the cats, but the owner ended up spending, I think, $12,000 or $13,000 on brand new floors because she didn't want to have to go through the hassles that she went through. I mean, it was an
if you I know this, if you just list a home and it doesn't say pet, if there's like no pets allowed, you'll get a call and everybody's got this miniature dog that only stays in. It's a show dog.
Well,
that stays in the crate, never leaves.
Their emotional support, a hedgehog or a feral pig, or pets are for the people who take care of them, which most do, which are fine, but that's why you need someone representing your rental that knows what they're doing, so you don't run into these things.
To get ahead of ourselves, because what do you do for when you're representing a seller to protect them with taking a pet? Because most people are going to have pets today when they're renting.
So with a pet, you want to have a couple things: a pet addendum in the lease, which basically makes it clear that any replacement is not going to be prorated based on the life of the rug or whatever else. It's the full replacement value. The rug needs to be replaced. It's getting taken out of the security deposit, not adjusted for the years of the use, and it gets confusing. The other thing is the liability. If Fido decides he's not been getting his food and he wants to take a chomp out of the next door neighbor's leg, well, as a landlord, you're liable, and Florida's a sue-happy state. So it's called bite insurance, which it basically protects from frivolous lawsuits and people's pets biting people and people suing back and forth. And then the other thing is vet records. Is it a puppy or is it a 10-year-old dog who maybe has a couple years left? So really getting an idea of what type of animal and hedging against liability. But it goes back to qualifying and setting expectations. I have a couple phrases that I use, which are true. Rentals are like dating. You sign a lease with a tenant or a landlord, you're going to have to work together for a year. So, whether you like each other or not. So setting the ground rules from the beginning are important. And if you don't do that right, you can end up with a potentially bad relationship.
What was your worst relationship?
Oh man. Well,
talk about the rental. Not the other kind of relationship.
Well, you go through a lot. I could probably think of a couple right now.
We got time. We're in a pandemic.
Well, one which hopefully be ending today in 2 hours, or an hour and 18 minutes, or an hour and 16 minutes. Hopefully they've left. But some people's expectations are not realistic with what they're going to get, although they have been told numerous times what they're going to be getting, and some people just don't listen to what is expected, and the calls come at all hours of the night. I'm what I do is full service. It's from the move in to the move out and all the craziness that comes in between. So
for those of you who don't know Will is about the hardest working guy I've seen. He's in the office when there is an office in the 7 o'clock hour, leaves late at night, works, you know, you see Will walk in the parking lot, it's like boom, boom, boom. But he handles in excess of 100 rentals a year, and everybody's happy with Will. And he just doesn't, he just does a terrific job for his, you know, his clients. They're full and center.
Well, thank you. Rentals are not a profit center. They're not a get rich quick. You know, I joke. I say it's charity work. It's giving back to the community because you're making a couple $100s on the rental. So the way that I view it is, it's a relationship building tool. I'm working for future business, and so I do everything I can to make sure that it goes as smoothly as possible. And that starts from the beginning. When I take a listing, the landlord knows what they're getting, which is a full service, the problems, but it's really the personalities that you deal with, both on the landlord side and the tenant side. Letting people know this is what you can expect, this is what you're responsible for, this is what I'm responsible for. Going over
what should if somebody wants to rent their house out, and and there's some of this going on right now, especially, you know, there's going to be some Airbnb converts, and we've talked about it, where, you know, you're looking to do more on a monthly or an annual or seasonal basis.
Spoke with the landlord yesterday. I was looking to do that because of the tightening up that several towns are doing with the regulations, Airbnb canceling all the reservations and then issuing full refunds that were not what was agreed to. So I think that's something that we'll see in this market.
So when somebody's renting their home out, if they're going to decide to do that, what are the expectations that that somebody should expect when they're in there? Because some people are not meant to be landlords, and some people are. So what is the mindset somebody has to have?
I would say most people are not meant to be landlords. It's just the way people are. They don't like to get yelled at all hours of the night, and that's just the way people are. So when you rent your property out, one of your largest assets of your home, you have to know how to qualify people. You have to know how to deal with difficult and really different personalities. Everyone's expectation is different. If someone comes from an apartment community where they will change your light bulbs and they will change your air conditioning filters on a monthly basis, when you rent a single family home, that's not how things are typically done. You're typically responsible for minor repairs up to $100, and you're going to have to either pay for someone to do it, or, you know, if the toilet flapper goes, a lot of the times that's a tenant expense. So you can. What
is a good, somebody who's renting their house out from the landlord? What should their mindset be, and what are some of the strategies that the ones who are successful at doing it do? Like, how do they take care of their tenants so they don't have a lot of problems, and they keep them happy so that they stay for a second or third year?
Well, the smart landlords call someone like myself, who has a lot of experience dealing with very difficult people, and who does not get discouraged, but also works with investors that look to buy properties so that they know what are things that come up. So what should someone do if they're going to rent their home? Tenant-proof their home. What does that mean? That means make sure that the major systems of the home are in decent, good working order. If the air conditioner hasn't been serviced in 3 years, probably a good time to get it serviced, because the chances are the air conditioner will go out. And when's it going to go out? Well, 2, 3 in the morning. And who's going to get that call? And the hot water heater. So making sure things like that are in good working order are going to prevent issues. Regardless of whose fault, you're renting your home out, and the tenant's going to blame you that this wasn't in good working order. Toilets, flappers. Certain age groups have more bowel movements than others, and the flushing of the toilet might not be up to their expectations. So
That's Isabella's case, correct?
well, that is her, and well, yes, and at the present moment, yes, and they do not smell good. But there's things that you learn, that letting people know this is what they're renting, and just because the toilet doesn't flush with the amount of suction that you previously had, there's not going to be a new toilet installed because you've created the need for a stronger flush.
Do you give right now? Will you give toilet paper? Will that come with the house if somebody rents from you?
Toilet paper is a premium.
A bonus for you, I would assume too.
Only single ply toilet paper is given out. No double ply.
What strange things are going on right now? Are you getting a lot of extension of leases where people want to stay an extra month, too, or whatever?
A lot of people extending for 2 months, month or 2 months, sometimes 3 months, because they're fearful to go back. A lot of people that are renting in our area seasonally rented through March or through April, and they're from the New York area. They are worried that they're going to go back and get sick, or that it's better to be trapped up. It's better to be trapped here than it is to be trapped up north. I spoke with my dad yesterday. I'm from outside of Boston, Massachusetts, and it snowed. So where would you rather be, here or there? I would rather be here, rather than the cold, gloomy Massachusetts, New York.
Look at all those palm trees behind you. It's amazing. Those clouds are so still. They haven't moved since I think you started to talk.
I think the world has literally stopped in its tracks. Is what's going on.
If you're so, let's go to the other. Flip the switch. If you're going to you're renting a place. What are expectations that you should expect on the rental side?
Well, when you're renting a home, a little bit different, and it makes it more challenging, because as a landlord, you're qualifying your tenant. You get a credit check, a background check, the proof of income. So you have an idea of who this person is. As a tenant, you're walking in there blindly. You don't know if the landlord is the nicest person you've ever met, or you don't know if he's nasty, doesn't want to put a dime into his property. You are going in blindly. So on the flip side, going back to rentals are like contractual dating, it's best to go in with a positive attitude. If something breaks or goes wrong, trying to handle it in a way that is not nasty. Get someone over here right now. Why isn't this working? You're renting the home. You're going to be there for however long your lease is. It's in everyone's best interest to try to get along. So what should be your expectation? That things are in good working order when you move in. If minor things break and an annual rental, your tenant's typically responsible for minor repairs, sometimes service charges for vendors to come out. If something breaks, like a refrigerator, the landlord's typically responsible for replacing that.
How about swimming pool?
Swimming pool, the maintenance is typically a tenant expense. They're using the pool. They're typically responsible for the expense. That's sometimes negotiable depending on the property and the situation.
Do you have vendors that you give out, or does each landlord have its own vendors?
So I'm now doing a lot more management, because instead of being Dr. Kevorkian and doing self-assisted suicides by letting landlords manage their own properties, and then calling me and saying, Will, they won't stop calling me and yelling and they're threatening me not to pay the rent. I realized that by doing a rental and then giving it to the landlord to manage when they have a full-time job, which may be golfing or maybe working, it was really doing a disservice, because I can put the best lease and the best tenants together. But if someone doesn't have experience, or they have no desire to manage the whole process, the work that I've done is slim to none. So I'm doing more management, and there's a lot of value that provides. But any vendor that I have is licensed, and the tenant knows when they move in, okay, if there's a pool, the pool guy comes on this day. If you need, and they have his contact information. If there's a major issue that comes up, there's billing wise, they'll have to go through me or the owner to get an authorization, but they know that they can contact the people that are familiar with the services. I typically keep the vendors that the owner has if they're licensed and insured. If the owner's out of the area, doesn't have those people, then I put my own team of vendors in place.
How are the contracts written? Can you explain? Are they contracts? Do you have to have a lawyer look them over, or what is the process for both sides?
A lease in Florida, if it's a less than a year less, can be drafted by a realtor. It's a fill in the blank lease. It's okay, but it doesn't have a lot of important things spelled out crystal clear, and it doesn't require renter's insurance for tenants. So for those addendums, they have to be given. You have to have the okay given by an attorney. Attorney has to draft a lease if it's over 2 years, period. So, you want to have not the lease that you got off of the internet, because if you don't have experience doing this, you don't know what to look out for. So I have addendums in the lease that I use that have been drafted by attorneys that make the things that are important crystal clear. So the renewals, how often, how much notice they have to give if they're wanting to stay another year, the repairs, the renter's insurance, the pet addendums. But if you don't know what to look out for, you're going into a boxing match blindfolded, and the tenants, you'll get knocked out quickly. It's not like a sale where once everyone signs and the closing's done, they go on their way. Once the signing happens for a lease, that's when everything starts, and it goes as long as the lease is. So if you have things that are not filled out correctly, I've rented homes with landlords who wanted to do it themselves, and they have filled out the lease, which they thought that was the right way to fill it out. And they're actually responsible for the cleaning of the home. The tenants that I put in there were nice, but if they were to follow the lease, the landlord would have been over there every other week cleaning the house. So little things like that, if you don't do correctly, there are dire consequences. And it's almost more important than a sale contract because of the length of time that the lease is.
Well, and if a seller's going to lease, they also have to, if somebody's going to lease their house or rent it out, they also have to think other things too. Like there's, your house doesn't sit still. So your value of your house, let's just say it's $500,000. The next year there could be style changes that go on. Market shifts from Mediterranean to over a 3-4 year period to contemporary. And all those people's $500,000 house went to $400,000 because it now was a dated house. Or ACs go during that time, and a seller still has to pay. You're still paying taxes. You're still paying your HOA. So you really have to think about why from a seller's perspective, why you're renting, or if you're going to sell it later on, you've got to also think about your timing. And how do you get, if somebody wants to sell a house with the tenant in it, what do those situations work best? I've always put a clause in there, an incentive clause, so that at least a tenant gets something out of it, because they're on vacation. They don't really want to be showing a home.
To back up, a lot of the things that a landlord doesn't take into account when you rent your home, you have to put a budget together, same as you would if you were to do anything else. So people think that they're just going to put the rent in their pocket, but you have a carrying cost. You have not just the maintenance and the little repairs, but you have capital expenditures for major appliances, AC, hot water heater. So each month the rent's coming in, you need to be budgeting a certain amount of that and putting that away for when those do go, which a lot of people don't. And that's, a lot of people that don't put that together run into problems when they're spending the money that they're receiving each month. But what was the question?
I don't know. What were we talking about? We were talking about, Rob, do you remember what the question was? Charlie?
Oh man.
You were just rolling, so
well,
I was listening and then I
Jeff,
forgot what I
seller. So
yeah.
in the lease, I require a 60-day notice to renew or vacate. If that's not provided, $500 deduction from the deposit. And then I reach out a month before that's due to let them know that, your lease is coming up for renewal. Do you want to renew or vacate? So if they're vacating in the last 60 days of the lease, then showings are permitted with 24-hour notice, which is what's deemed as reasonable notice. For a seasonal rental, a little bit more challenging. We have one tenant who was very on board from the beginning about showings. That, that's the recent events have made that more difficult, but it's all about setting expectations, not just sliding.
I had one yesterday, somebody who wanted to see a place and it was in the lease and, won't let anybody in because they were selling it. What I've always done, I think the only way, and we have Suzanne's asking this about incentives right now on Facebook Live. I've always put in there an incentive. So I had this neighbor next to me named Mr. John, and Mr. John was not the most generous of man with the dollar. And Mr. John was telling me that he used to let the builder show the house all the time, and he would help them out and was always accommodating to everybody to let them in their home. And I couldn't understand it. So I started talking further, and then I found out there was a $25 incentive for Mr. John every time he showed the house. So my advice always was to a landlord to give your tenant half a month's rent free if it goes under contract while you're showing it. So meaning if it goes under contract and it successfully closes, then they'll get a half a month's rent out. And a lot of people will help in that situation because they kind of get involved in the selling process. It kind of becomes like a little bit of a game to them. But then the lights are going to be on. They're going to open the door. The omelet, plate is not sitting in the dish, in the sink, because that's usually what happens. Even if they do agree to it in the contract and there's no incentive.
Sleeping in the bed
Right.
when you're showing the property.
The first time they're like, okay. The second time the lights aren't on, and and then you'll have all this stuff all over the house, and the laundry's there. And the third time you usually get a call from the tenant saying that to your seller saying they don't want any showings anymore, and there's this big hoopla over that. So if you give them an incentive, though, that everybody wins at the end of the day.
I think what it goes back to is the relationships, setting expectations from the beginning. And if you've been being a decent landlord, decent manager, you're going to get decency back for the most part. If you're not, you're not. So, it's a gray area, but it all starts from the beginning. If the beginning gets off to a rocky start, that goes downhill. So it all starts with people know what they're getting and they're on the same page.
What do you think, going through this whole situation when this whole thing is passed, one day, how do you think it's going to change the rental market? Do you think there's going to be more rentals? Do you think they're going to be shown differently? Are there going to be different clauses in there?
I think as a whole, rentals could be shown differently. Self-guided tours. But I think.
Well, your market though is more, rentals are kind of like that. Somebody can't just come down here and go, let's go look at 15 homes today. On the rental side, it's always a much faster moving target, and you got to move faster on rentals typically.
You have to. But I think in general, putting the recent events to the side, the rental market has changed since the, the last housing dip, for two reasons. One, affordability, the other, not affordability. But a lot of people are renting more than they're buying, and it's not for the reason that they can't afford to buy, but it's the flexibility and the ease. People don't want to have the responsibilities of dealing with contractors and renovating and dealing with the headaches. They'd rather move in, pay maybe a little bit more money on a monthly basis, but then not pull the trigger and buy something. So some people move every couple of years. And
well, we rented, I remember our first place in downtown Chicago was a rental before we bought. And then here we made a decision when we moved to Florida. We rented in Abacoa, actually, for when Abacoa was first starting. I mean, I'd walk the dog like at 5 a.m. and see a coyote and all, armadillos and all sorts of stuff because it was so barren. But it was good though, because we learned the area that way, and we decided we're in Egret Landing. And we learned, so we looked like where Charlie's at. We liked the shores. We liked Egret. We liked Abacoa too. But you end up learning a little bit about where you're doing your shopping and what you do. So renting always gives you a nice feel for it. But on the flip side, we've been in our home now, I think 17 years. And Jade, our daughter, is 16. She calls it our treehouse. She lives, she's in the upstairs area with Sam. And, that's their home. So you get memories when you're in your home versus, you'll see that with Isabella, that your home is your home. And there's a lot of, especially for children, it's kind of nice. And it's hard when you're in a rental if you've got to move all the time, too.
The other thing is when you're renting, going back to what you'd asked about, what should I expect if I'm a renter? You can have the best home that you like that you're renting, but you really don't know. Some landlords are better than others. Some are more easygoing and patient than others. Don't want to spend anything, and regardless of what's in the lease, they're not going to do what they should do. So you really don't know what you're going to get until you move in.
Well, I think people get, I think part of what you do is you diffuse certain situations. I had somebody call me the other day, and it was referred to. They were up north of here, and they wanted to go after the landlord for doing this, but at the same time, they also needed a month extension. And I'm like, some of the stuff you just have to let go. I say, get your extension and be safe. You're not in the Ritz-Carlton when you're renting these places. But I think a good landlord is if you take care of some stuff and you're not on them for everything. And I think from a landlord perspective, if you try to take care of your clients, you do a little bit extra. Like you said, do an inspection of the house and make sure everything, and have a talk beforehand of what expectations are. That's what you do so well. I think you don't have it really, the amount of volume you do, you really don't have nearly as many problems as someone who doesn't know what they're doing with rentals.
It comes from experience. There's no reading a book. Things, fires happen quickly, and then you learn from it. How can I prevent this from happening in the future? And there's certain things that are very important, and making sure that those don't come up. Because if you have 50 rentals or 25 tenants at the same time, if all those 25 tenants at the same time there's issues and they're upset, you'll be in a bad spot.
Go ahead.
As a tenant, renting long term, you have a lot less control. It's a good way to learn the area, but you have a lot less control. Landlords may tell you, "Oh, we'll rent as long as you want," but people have a life situation. I had a client last year who owned a few condos, and his wife got sick, and the medical bills add up, and he needed to sell one of his condos, and the tenant thought she was staying there for the rest of her life. All upset because she had to move, and you don't own it, and so she had to move out. And so there's you have a lot less control. You're not building any equity, and things may get taken care of, if something small breaks, but long term, there's some people that think it's good not to tie up capital, but you're not, you really are.
Well, in the area on a long-term basis, we have too much growth that's going to happen, through, we've projected out through 2045. The area's doubled in the last, every area has in size almost since I've been down here for 20 years. And it's because of the weather and the taxes and all those things, and taxes and everything up north. I think we're gonna see a lot more movement from the northern states, as there's, if somebody has an opportunity to get out, they will. And there's more green space, down here than there is in the urban areas.
Your expenses are more controlled as well. If you purchase a home and you homestead your property, your taxes are gonna be capped at going up. As a renter, there are very few protections compared to most other states. Florida's a very landlord-friendly state. There's no rental increase caps. There's no caps on security deposit. There's no caps on pet fees. There's no withholding rent. There's no withholding rent for repairs. There's no protections that a lot of other states have. So if you get into a bad situation, disagreeing with the landlord, you're not in a good situation. Unlike on the opposite side of the spectrum, New York, where it's you could not pay rent for 6 months. Very, very landlord friendly in Florida, and that's why some smaller to medium-sized hedge funds have taken their money out of New York City and liquidated their portfolios and purchased a significant number of new construction townhouses down in Palm Beach Gardens, because their returns are better and there's less of a there's more freedom down here.
And how about on the deposit side? What percentage of the time are you running into deposit situations where somebody is disputing the deposit?
So I'd rather not get into claiming the security deposit, and how I mitigate that is by doing a walkthrough a little bit before, even a couple of weeks before, and saying, listen, this needs to be done, that needs to be done. It's in everyone's best interest not to get into a security deposit claim. And so for my rentals, very few. For the first time, I will be going to small claims court. The court date got pushed back. Wasn't for a rental that I placed, but it was for a rental that the tenant moved out, but I'm going because I'm in, and I'm not involved, but I'm going because I'm curious to learn the process.
Oh, I remember
better.
we talked about that. Yeah.
Yes. So I'm a witness, and we'll see if it gets pushed back again. But I'm curious to see the process, because I've never heard of anything that I've been involved in go that far. Usually it ends and people settle between each other. But I'm curious to see the full.
Well, that may end up settling right now. I mean, are they even doing that in person, or what?
No,
is it going to be like a Zoom conference like this where you'll be on like Hollywood Squares, but for the judge?
Well, it's sometime next month, but I think it'll. I don't know. We'll see what happens, but it very well may get pushed back.
Hey, Will.
Yes.
We have a Facebook question from Rose Siegel Bow, if I'm pronouncing her name correctly. Yeah. How do you deal with ESA ?
ESA. So
what is ESA?
Emotional support animals.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Good question. So service animals, emotional support animals, those go hand in hand. The law dictates that you cannot discriminate against emotional support animals or service animals. There's documentation that's needed. There we go. Fluffy, the ESA cat.
This is Fat Knuckles.
Fat Knuckles. Well, everyone, or a lot of people have it's a good question because it comes up a lot. The amount of emotional support, assistance, animals, and that could be a dog, cat, llama, potbelly pig, you name it. The way that the Americans, I think it's the American Disabilities Act, views that is that it's a medication, and a landlord cannot deny. They cannot deny an applicant based on that criteria. So they can deny it for other reasons. So the credit maybe is not good. The income's not where you want it. So you don't necessarily need to take somebody with the ESA animal, but you can't deny them for that. It has to be for another reason. So, I mean, it's against the law to discriminate, but that's.
Hey, Will. So, sorry to cut you off. Rose also asked, can you require pet insurance?
Pet insurance, that gets into a legal question. My understanding is yes, from what I've been told, but it's still that's a gray area. I would consult with the attorney on that one.
And she says, I know you cannot require a pet deposit, or I know you cannot
So
require a pet deposit.
Require a pet deposit or a pet fee for an ESA animal. To truly have an ESA animal, you need really not. It's not the form off Amazon that you get for $49.95, but it's a doctor's letter. It's basically a doctor prescribing you an ESA pet. And so I have some associations that really clamping down on the pets because it's gotten out of control, and they have a separate application that the tenant has to go through and that the doctor has to sign. And the airlines are getting upset about it too, because people are bringing on the most ridiculous animals, and they're taking up seats and they're shitting on the planes, and it's getting out of control.
Watch
So
Hey, it's a
Watch the
PG
language.
program, Will.
all right, they're all right.
One of the 7 words. I think it's
Pooping.
like George Carlin, remember?
Well, so it's getting a little bit out of control. So they're tightening up on who qualifies and what is needed to qualify for an ESA animal.
But what you said was interesting. I never heard of anybody doing that, where the were they getting an animal after the fact? Like the 2 cats that you mentioned earlier.
Oh yeah.
And it's not in the lease, but then you got them for.
Often. Oh, it's my friend's dog. He was here just for one day. And then there's someone next door that's complaining to the HOA that the tenant has several dogs, and they're taking pictures, and the tenant's denying it. And everyone's got there's always someone in each neighborhood that has too much free time and has a dislike for somebody, and then HOA is coming after them.
Well, in some communities you're not even allowed the dog anyways. So
A lot of
Or-
communities don't. And then
condos
also,
are the most part like that. We have, by the way, we have a cool thing on our website for condos, and it shows what pets are allowed and what the weight restrictions are. Although like in PGA, there's HOA. I'll put that link on the website on the Facebook. But I know there's like in PGA, like there was like sometimes it's like 1 cat, like under like 12 pounds, a bird up to like 5 pounds, or goofy things.
and there's also the restrictions differ for the restrictions differ for rentals and purchases. So for the landmark example, pet friendly building, but not for renters. So
I didn't know that.
And that there's a couple other condos that or communities for that matter that are the case as well. Harbor Oaks, same thing, pet friendly community, not for renters.
Well, I think it's also you're seeing these, a lot of the older buildings did not allow pets, and some of them are changing And it's interesting because, I've said, I've been called sometimes by a development, a condo development, like, what can we do to increase our value? So the biggest thing you can do is to allow pets, because some of these, their home values would go up, let alone the rent values, but 50, 100, hundreds of thousands of dollars, because you're locking out a giant percentage of the market.
And then, a lot of them have weight restrictions and breed restrictions. If you allow pets, it doesn't necessarily mean that, someone's going to come in with 3 pit bulls. But, if it's a 30-pound dog, that, I don't know the liability, and I could be wrong, but it's not going to change significantly.
Okay. Anything else that you want to add about rentals that other questions that people ask, or anything interesting that's going on in this environment?
No, I think that's a good snapshot.
Anything else on Facebook? Any other questions for Will? Going once, twice.
Andrew Levy says, "Hello, Will Dean, the rental king." The rental king.
Hello, Andrew.
And then it looks like we have renters with ESAs cannot be denied by condo. That's what a comment from Rose.
he got that one.
You got that?
Yeah.
I think that's it. So today, Will, quick question. If my ice cubes aren't cold enough, can I go after the landlord for my ice cubes?
No, there's, I say that joke often. However, last year that was actually a complaint. The freezer did not get cold enough, although it was below freezing per the thermostat. And the appliance technician had to come in and explain this was the appropriate level of coolness in the fridge.
But Will, you do unpack luggage, right?
Oh man, I have, and every year they are not as friendly as they can be. They want me to come at 9 o'clock. They got in this year and they're blowing up my phone. Who's gonna help unpack our luggage? We're elderly. We can't be expected to do this. I can offer the resources. Those resources are going to charge. It's not a bell service is not included in the rental yet.
Well, after listening to you, I think I'm gonna go buy a emotional support pig or a monkey. That's what I've always wanted: a pig or a monkey.
Well, there you go.
The monkey is not. You definitely don't want a monkey. That's
no.
That's back to Will. You're going to be changing diapers again.
That's true. So today, Jeff, we have at 2 o'clock coming up here in the next 40 minutes or so. We have Robert. Let me pronounce his name. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly. Migliera from Federal Exterminating, and he's going to talk about. You can see behind me here. Let me move out of the way.
The evil toad.
These ugly, disgusting buffa. I think it's buffo toads that pop up in backyards, and if your dog gets a hold of them, it could be fatal for your dog.
And the miniature toads. I don't know what they are. Are they?
I think they.
You know what they are, Charlie? You're from here. These little frogs. I must say, like thousands of them, like going around right now. They like to swim too.
Jeff, I'll say they're not as prevalent as they used to be. When I was young, they were everywhere. The building around here has kind of eliminated them a little, but no, I don't know what they're called.
We must have 50 of them. Like, I opened up the slider door today, and they all want they're more prevalent than the lizards right now.
Love frogs, love toads, but these ones are pretty bad for your dogs.
They're you really need to be aware of what to do with them, and
so he goes out. He goes out at night. I believe Suzanne Slate's going to be on with him today, and he's going to talk about it. But I believe he goes out at night and captures these critters and I guess disposes of them. I don't know if he fries up frog legs.
Toad legs.
I don't know. I never ate frog. Has anybody ever had frog legs before on this chat?
Sam loves frog legs.
I heard they're good. I heard it tastes like chicken, like everything else they say. It tastes like chicken. I don't know. I guess we'll find out at 2 o'clock today.
Well, I know Will likes amphibians. It's like his favorite food, right?
Frog legs.
That's Craig who doesn't like, but I'm with him. I don't.
No frog legs for you.
What's your favorite food in this? What are you eating the most right now, Will?
Same thing I always eat: salads, boring salads, chicken, yogurt.
I feel like I'm like in like high school again. It's like SpaghettiOs and like all sorts of soups. A lot of tuna salad, bumblebee, sun-kissed. What else is there? There's bumblebee, sun-kissed.
This is like an
Chicken
episode.
of
Chicken of the sea.
Chicken
yeah.
of the Sea. It's like an episode of The Walking Dead.
Yeah, and there's like a lot of different. I'm trying all the different tuna cans. What are you eating, Charlie, at home?
Lots of chicken. Lots of chicken. I don't think I've eaten this much chicken in a long time. Chicken and salads.
For me, it's been good though. I've lost some weight, so some of it's not so bad. Although I need a haircut, like in the worst way. It's
I
getting
need a
myself
haircut.
a little bit of a haircut earlier today.
You did?
Mine's, I took the razor a little bit around the ears. It's looking a little bit ragged, so.
Maybe I'll bring Millie on so she can do a virtual haircutting class.
You know what? We all need a virtual haircut.
Yeah. A virtual haircut class.
Yeah.
All right. Well, 2:00. Tune back in, folks, for Robert
Yeah.
Migliera from Federal Exterminating and Suzanne.
Learn
Smith.
about getting rid of the toads and other types of critters that are going on right now. So for Rob Moore, Will Dean, Charlie Gale, we're leaving live. Jeff Lichtenstein over at Echo Fine Properties. Have any property you want to rent or buy, give us a call at 561-500-ECHO. Ask for your favorite realtor, and we'll hook you up. Goodbye, everybody.
See you later.
All right.